Hello, Yawning Angel back again with another AMOS video, and this time I'm talking about how to limit your mouse on a screen. This is quite a useful function if you have an area on the screen that you only want the mouse to move within and not the whole screen. Quite useful maybe if you had a control panel or something on a screen and you only want to limit the user's input to that area and not anywhere else. AMOS provides a command, limit mouse, that will restrict a mouse's movements within a defined area. But please be aware, this is using hardware coordinates and not the normal graphical coordinates. So while you may use graphical coordinates to position your panel that you want the mouse to move within, AMOS is looking for hardware coordinates to define where it moves within that panel. I'm going to write a program and show you how all of that works. So let's grab a cup of tea and let's get on with it. Right, so here we are in AMOS Professional. So let's start off our code. We'll start with a rem statement. Limit mouse code. Okay, next thing we're going to do is open, setup, and define the screen. So this is standard fare for a lot of my code. You'll see me do this in all my programs. So we'll open screen 1. We'll make this 680 by 300. We'll have it at 16 colors and we'll have it as a high-res screen. So let's move the mouse out of the way. Good. We'll set the page color, which will be a nice shade of gray, and then we'll clear the screen. We're going to turn off the cursor because we're going to be running a loop and we don't want the cursor flickering on the screen. We're also going to reserve a zone. We only want one zone for this program. Now I did a video, my last AMOS video was actually all about AMOS zones and how to define them. So I'll put a link up above and you can go back and check that out if you haven't already. Right, now what we want to do is draw a box on the screen. Right, so let's define this. So Inc2 will have a box of dimensions, so starting at 30, 30, going to 200, 200. That's our box. Then we're going to have Inc9, and I'm going to create a bar to go inside that box, which will be at 31, 31 to 199, 199. 1 pixel smaller than the box. So what we'll do, we'll just have a quick run. Let's just see what that looks like. So that's it. We've got a box here. So the box gives us the white outline and the bar is the solid part in the middle. Right, let's go back to this. What we want to do inside that box that we've just drawn is draw an exit button, because we're going to put a button in there that our mouse is going to click on to exit the code when we need to. So let's start off with Inc15. We'll just do a simple bar on that. So it's 40, 36 to 190, 50. And you're probably wondering, Yawning Angel, how did you get those coordinates? Well, I kind of worked them out before I started writing this. You do what you need to do. Your mileage may vary. I'm going to put some code in here and you'll see I've got the code to show the coordinates as I move the mouse around the screen. So you can kind of use that to work out where you need to set things. Right, so what I'm going to do with that, because that's going to be a button, I'm going to put a zone around it. So I'm going to set zone, and because our zones are exactly the same as for the button, so this is zone 1, which I've already reserved it in memory, and that's going to be 40, 36 to 190, 50, because it's exactly the same as the bar that we've just drawn. And then I'm going to use a locate command to shove some text over that, 6, 5, and paper 15, pen 2, and we're going to print on there exits. Right, so now if I press F2 just to check the code, make sure there's no errors, no errors. And I'm going to press F1 just to run that. And there we go. So we've got our box and our exit button. Not doing anything at the moment because we haven't actually written the code for that. So let's get on and write the meat of the program now. Right, so what we're going to do now, let's put a quick comment in here. We're going to create a loop around mouse coords display and limit the mouse. Right, so we're going to go then do. Now, one thing with limit mouse command, it uses hardware coordinates, not screen coordinates, to get the position on the screen where it needs to limit the mouse. So to find out what the coordinates are, we can retrieve those, and AMOS has commands that will return the hardware coordinates. So let's just quickly shove in a quick comment. Rem get the hardware coords of X and Y. And what we're going to use for that, we're going to set X equals X mouse. That's the command. X mouse will return you the hardware X coordinates of the position of the mouse. So let me just move that up the screen a bit so we can see what we're doing, and also make sure my camera's in focus. There we go. Right. Now, unsurprisingly, I want to get the Y coordinates. I'm going to do exactly the same thing for Y and use Y mouse. So X mouse and Y mouse will return the hardware coordinates. Very, very useful. So now what I'm going to do is put those on the screen. So locate 0, 0, paper 7, pen 2, print, and here we go. X hardware coords colon space double apostrophe, and what I'm going to do here is convert that to a string. So X and Y have come back as numerical values, and I need them to be a string. So I'm going to use the command str$ X str dollar, yawning angel, not str% dollar. There we go. Str dollar plus, and we'll just do a space there. Right, so what this line is doing, we're going to print the value of X, but I need to convert X to a string in order to be able to print it. So just basic kind of programming things there, nothing too trick, but str string is the bit of code you need if you're going to try and convert a numeric value into a string value in order to print it. So let's do the next one. Locate 30, 0, same thing, paper 7, pen 2. Remember, this is quick and dirty code. There's probably quicker ways of doing this, or more elegant ways. Do what you need to do, but this is just to show you how things work. Y hardware coords. This is going to be exactly the same. Space, and we'll do that. We'll do plus str dollar Y plus, yep, and that should do that. So once again, we're converting the hardware coordinate that has been returned into the numeric value Y, converting it to a string in order to print it out. Right, now what I'm going to do next is get the graphical coordinates of X and Y so you can see the difference of them. So let's do that next. Right, so now let's get the graphic ords for X and Y, so you can see that these are different. So I've just set a variable up, xs equals X screen X. Right, what's going on here, Yawning Angel? This looks a little bit more confusing. Well, I'll just move the code up again. So what is going on here? What we're actually doing then, so AMOS has the command xscreen, and it will convert a hardware value into a graphical coordinate value. So using the xscreen command and giving it the value of x, because we know up here that x is our hardware coordinate, our hardware x coordinate of the mouse, shove that into the xscreen command and it will return the graphic coordinate back. It's that simple. And for y, we're going to do exactly the same thing. Can you guess what I'm going to do here? It's y screen. And we're going to give it the hardware value of y to go into there. That will return those values. Now let's get them up onto the screen. Locate 0, 2. Print. This is not very elegant, but it does the job. X screen coords. Colon, and we want that. Once again, this is a numerical value that I need to convert into a string, so I'm going to use str dollar and convert xs, and then I'm going to do that. The reason I'm doing this space at the end is because if I'm dealing with values that are in single digits or double digits, and if I then get a value that's a 3-digit value, it'll print it on the screen, but then when it goes back to a second digit, it doesn't clear the end of that line. So by putting a space at the end, it just kind of clears it down so you can see the actual value. It's quite simple. You'll see what I mean when it starts running. Right, so let's do the next one. 30, 2, and here print y screen coords, and close that off, plus convert it to string ys plus little space at the end. There we go. Right, now I've got an exit button up there on the screen, so let's do something with it. If mouse click, if we've clicked the mouse, and if mouse zone equals 1. So if we're clicking in mouse zone 1, what we want to do is exit the program. We want to finish off that end if, finish off the other end if. Don't worry, I'm going to indent all of this once the code is complete. Now, we've done all this. So we've done a lot of stuff with coordinates. We've got a button in there that we can click. We can do all sorts of funky things. But all of a sudden, you're asking yourself the question, but Yawning Angel, how are you limiting the mouse? Why is the mouse not limited yet? We're going to do that now. Really simple command. And the command is limit mouse, unsurprisingly. And we give it the hardware coordinates. Now, I know what these coordinates are because I've used this code that we've already written to work out where I need to put the mouse, and you'll see that when this is running. So based on that, I know my coordinates are 127, 72, 2, 211, 242. That is all there is to it. And then at the end, I just need to finish off that loop command. Let's press F2. There are no errors. F3, let's all indent it all nicely. And let's have a look at our code. So we've created a loop. We're getting our X and Y hardware coordinates of the mouse. And then I'm printing those to the screen. That's fairly straightforward. And it was using this code that I used to determine what my limit mouse values should be. But in order to show what the graphic coordinates are and how they differ, I'm using the X screen command and the Y screen command to take the hardware coordinates and convert them back to a graphical coordinate value. And then I'm printing those on the screen as well, and you'll see those in a minute when I run this program. And then I've got a mouse click check here just to make sure I have my clicking the exit button. And then I'm using my limit mouse command there to limit the mouse. So without further ado, let's press F1 and see what happens. Right, let me just adjust my camera a minute. So here we go. And if you look at the top of the screen, if you look up here, you're going to see the coordinates changing as I move the mouse. But wait, what's this? I can't move the mouse outside of this box because my mouse is limited. I literally cannot move it outside of there. So my hardware coordinates, I set those to be 127, 72, and then 211, 211, yeah, to 211. So there's our X coordinate, there's 211, that's where my mouse is, to 242, 242. So I've told it, start there, end there, this area, I just want my mouse limited. And there is no ways that I can actually move my mouse out of that. It is limited. But look at the screen, the graphical coordinates, how they differ from the hardware coordinates. There's a lot of difference going on there. And just to show you that you can't use the graphical coordinates when using Limit Mouse, you have to use the hardware coordinates. Now, there's a really vital thing you need to know about hardware coordinates, and I'll talk about that next. Right, something you need to be aware of when using hardware coordinates. You've written your program, you've got your box defined, your area where you want your mouse to move, you've put your hardware coordinates in, the mouse is limited within that space, everything's working really well. And then you decide to change your screen resolution, or you change the size of your screen. Be very, very aware that as soon as you change the size of your screen's resolution, your hardware coordinates will change, and you will have to recalculate them or find out what they are again and change them so your mouse still moves within the area that you expect it to. That's a really important thing to bear in mind. You probably need to get those figures right before you define your screen size, and you know you're going to stick with that screen size and resolution, because as soon as you change it, your hardware coordinates will change. Take note. So with this running, as you can see, the mouse is limited, it's not going anywhere. Does the exit button work? Let's click it and find out. Yay! It works. Really simple stuff. So there you go, limiting a mouse in AMOS. It's that easy. So this is just a simple little program, but there is one that, here's one I created earlier, that does some sexier stuff. And let me load this in. And this program here is doing a lot more stuff. We've got some global variables in there. I've got a lot more boxes. Look at that. I've got a toggle button. I've got an exit button. I've got a limit mouse button. I've got a colors mouse button. What's going on there? And I've got a load of stuff going on in here. I'm not going to go through this line by line. This is just adding to what I've already done. And let's see what this program actually does when I run it. And this is doing a very similar thing. So this has created my limiting box here. I've got my coordinates showing at the top of the screen again. But I just added some extra buttons because, you know, if you wanted to use this, you'd basically create a panel like this in your program, and you'd have a lot of buttons in here that you could, you know, the user could use and select to do different things. So just for fun and frolics, really, clicking that button, obviously now my coordinates are hidden. I can toggle them on and off by clicking that. Obviously exit, oh, I wonder what that does, which will do the same thing. Show colors is a little routine that I wrote that basically just shows all 16 colors that are available for this screen palette, because we set it to 16 and I can toggle that on and off. It's just a little utility just to show you the kind of thing that can be done. Now here's a button, no limits. Anyone following me on social media will have seen my post about who is crazy enough to put a no limit button in any of their program. Let me just turn off the colors a minute. So here it is. So if I click no limit, the mouse can move. It has no limits. Fly free, little mouse. Fly free. Look at that. It can move anywhere it likes. And look at their coordinates at the top of the screen are changing. They're going all over the place because that's where the mouse is going. And if I turn that back on, the mouse once again is limited to those coordinates which I set. So the 12772, if you check at the top of the screen there, and the 211242, if you look at the top of the screen, you'll see the values there. Once again, no limit, fly free, little mouse, fly free. Limit on, bang, it's stuck between the boundaries again. Hide the coordinates, show some colors. It's just fun stuff to do. And finally, we exit. Ta-da! It's all done. Thank you and good night. And that's it for another video. Thank you ever so much for taking the time to watch this. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you want to subscribe to my channel, please feel free to do so. I do a number of AMOS videos. There's a link up here somewhere to a playlist of AMOS tutorial videos that I do. I do other stuff as well with other retro computers, a BBC Master, a Spectrum 128+2, and of course my Amiga. So thanks once again. Take care of yourselves. keep it retro, and I'll see you on the next video.